roughly, they assume that external change is enough to impact society. In other words, let's just strap on more and more laws and create more and more laws, and somehow we'll fix things. We can do justice without a belief in God because we'll just institute more and more laws, and people want to listen to those laws. What they're not realizing is that laws don't do anything about the human heart. Laws do not change the human heart. Laws just tell us what we're going to do when other people are watching. How fast do you go when a police car's behind you? And finally, people assume that science will one day be able to give us a more concrete moral standard. But what's interesting is that John Gray, who is an atheist British philosopher, honestly looks at this claim. And he actually says that this is actually a moral problem when he says this. He says there's no more reason to think science can determine human values today than there was at the time of Hegel or Huxley. None of the divergent values that atheists have from time to time promoted has any essential connection with atheism or with science. How could any increase in scientific knowledge validate values such as human equality and personal autonomy? The source of these values is not science. In fact, as the most widely read atheist thinker of all time argued, these quintessential liberal values have their origins in monotheism. Uh-oh. What atheist wants to hear that actually these values have their origins in a belief in God? He's essentially saying, guys, that we can't get an ought from an is, and that's problematic. So in what or in whom do you ground your morality? If we don't ground our morality in something, we essentially are saying that morality doesn't exist, and it's fluid, and it can change whenever we want to. Stealing is wrong today, but tomorrow we can have a whole different picture of it. We can change. This is one of the challenges that we have to understand when we are changing things that we have thought to be morally wrong in the past, and we're now suddenly making them morally right. Because maybe then we need to start apologizing or writing apology letters to people in the past that we've punished for these things that we are now saying are okay. Maybe we need to start being penalized for punishing people in the past for things we're now saying okay. And then we need to keep our guard up because in the future, maybe 100 years from now, people will look back and say, we were wrong, and they'll want to switch things around again. And now they'll owe us apologies. I mean, what are we doing here? Just changing things all the time, kind of floating above ground and never able to land anywhere because we never want to make an absolute.